Hello dear students, I am Sanjata Madan Mohan discussing human physiology, digestion and absorption. Yesterday we have discussed regarding the whole digestive system, alimentary canal and its different parts. Today we are discussing the digestion process, how it occurs in different parts of human digestive system. Firstly, in the oral cavity, that is in the mouth, the mechanical digestion as well as chemical digestion occurs. Mechanical digestion with the help of teeth, that is the process of breakdown or chewing process is called as mastication. It occurs with the help of teeth present in buccal cavity. Then in mouth, saliva is secreted by salivary glands. And chemical digestion occurs with the help of salivary amylase present in the saliva. Saliva is composed of salivary amylase, water, then ions like sodium, potassium, chloride and bicarbonates, and as well as another enzyme is also present, lysozyme, which is antimicrobial enzyme. The food is thoroughly mixed with the saliva and then it is converted into a compact mass that is called as bolus. Salivary amylase present in mouth or present in saliva acts on starch present in our food. Nearly 30% of starch is digested by salivary amylase. And the pH of buccal cavity is 6.8. Starch is hydrolyzed to maltose, a disaccharide. Salivary amylase is also called as ptyalin. Now the food is swallowed. The bolus, which is compact mass of food, is swallowed. The process is called as deglutition. It is swallowed through pharynx. It enters into esophagus, and esophagus is the passage for food. No digestive process occurs in esophagus. It is only a passage. In esophagus, the peristaltic movement occurs. Peristaltic movement or pushing forward movement occurs in esophagus. Not only in esophagus, the whole alimentary canal, this peristaltic movement is occurring except rectum. And these movements of alimentary canal, they are brought about by muscular layers. In previous class we have discussed 4 tunics or 4 layers. Muscular layer which is present in the covering of the alimentary canal, they are helping in these kinds of movements, and different kinds of movements are occurring in different parts of alimentary canal. Next, the food reaches stomach, and we have already discussed that gastroesophageal sphincter is present in between esophagus and stomach. It is not allowing backflow generally. Then in stomach, gastric juice is secreted. Stomach, wall of the stomach secretes some enzymes, mucus, and the collective secretion is called as gastric juice. In stomach, churning movements occurs. Churning movements occur, and because of this churning movement, the food is thoroughly mixed with gastric juice, and Now this semi-digested, highly acidic food of stomach is referred to as a chyme. Gastric mucosa secretes mucus. Mucus secreting cells are present in gastric epithelium, and mucus is secreted by mucus secreting cells. Mucus secreting cells. Then another type of cells secrete the peptic cells or chief cells secrete enzyme pepsinogen. Then parietal cells or oxyntic cells secrete HCl and an intrinsic factor. This intrinsic factor is very important in absorption of vitamin B12. Now, the pepsinogen which is secreted is in its precursor form, that is, it is called as zymogen. That it is in an inactive state and it requires activation. So, activation is done by the HCl which is present in gastric juice. Pepsinogen inactive form or precursor of the enzyme pepsin is activated by HCl, and pH of stomach is 1.8. At this pH it is activated to pepsin. Now pepsin acts on the proteins. All proteolytic enzymes require secreted in precursor form and they require activation, and they are called as precursor forms are called as zymogens. So is this pepsin. Now pepsin, active form of pepsinogen, acts on proteins and converts or breaks down protein into proteoses and peptones. In infants, one more enzyme is secreted, that is called as renin. Renin is also secreted in infants, only in infants. Small amount of pepsin is also secreted, and apart from that, renin is secreted in infants. And this renin acts on the milk protein, casinogen or milk protein. The mucus and the bicarbonates which are present in the gastric juice, they help in protection of wall of the gastric stomach or gastric mucosa, and they help in they avoid excoriation. That is, X means of corium, the skin, that is scratching of skin is prevented by with the help of a highly acidic medium, that is HCl, that is avoided here with the help of the mucus and as well as bicarbonates which are present in the gastric juice. Next, the food is entering into the small intestine, that is first part of small intestine, duodenum. in between duodenum and gallbladder, that is stomach. Another valve is present, that is pyloric sphincter is present, which is guarding the passage of food from stomach to small intestine. Duodenum receives the juice from, that is secretion from the liver and as well as pancreas. And the intestinal wall is also secreting some enzymes. Liver secretes bile juice. Liver secretes bile juice. Bile juice is not composed of any enzymes. It is composed of the pigments, bile pigments, biliverdin and bilirubin, and bile salts, then cholesterol and phospholipids. All these are present in the bile juice. Bile juice plays very important role. Particularly bile salts play very important role in fat digestion, that is emulsification occurs with the help of bile salts. Next, pancreas secretes pancreatic juice. Secretes pancreatic juice, and this pancreatic juice is composed of several enzymes. They are amylopsin, trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, procarboxypeptidase, lipases, nucleases. So these are all the enzymes which are present in pancreatic juice, or these are the enzymes released by pancreas. Already we know that the hepatopancreatic duct opens into duodenum region, duodenum of small intestine. Then the enzymes secreted by the small intestine, enzymes secreted by the small intestine, or the enzymes secreted in succus entericus, or intestinal juice. Disaccharidases, like maltase, sucrase, lactase. Dipeptidases, nucleotidases and nucleosidases. lipases and enterokinase. Enterokinase is an activator. It is not involved in digestive process. It is an activator. The proteolytic enzymes secreted by pancreas, that is trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen and procarboxypeptidases. They are activated by this enterokinase. Actually, first the trypsinogen is activated by enterokinase and then further all the other proteases are activated by trypsin. In small intestine, different types of movements are seen. In small intestine, different types of movements are seen. Now let us see the digestion process. So, previously we have discussed that the proteins are broken down to proteoses or peptones in the stomach, and in the mouth or buccal cavity the starch is broken down to disaccharide or maltase. So, pancreatic amylase acts on polysaccharide or starch. Polysaccharides or starch or carbohydrates. It acts on polysaccharides or carbohydrates. Pancreatic amylase. And this pancreatic amylase is also called as amylopsin. And pH of small intestine is 7.8. The bicarbonates and the secretion from liver and pancreas, they convert the acidic food of stomach to alkaline. And pancreatic amylase acts on starch or the carbohydrates or polysaccharides and they convert them to disaccharides. Next, the trypsinogen. Inactive form of trypsin. It is activated by enterokinase of small intestine or succus entericus. Enterokinase of small intestine or succus entericus. And pH here 7.8. It is converted to trypsin. Active form of trypsinogen is trypsin. Now, proteins, peptones and proteoses are all acted upon by all these proteolytic enzymes: trypsin, chymotrypsin, and carboxypeptidase. To dipeptides. pH is 7.8. So, trypsin is trypsinogen is activated by enterokinase, and this trypsin is activating the chymotrypsinogen and as well as procarboxypeptidase to its active forms, and then they act on the proteins, peptones and proteases. So in stomach, peptones and proteases were formed. Even proteins are also acted upon by these proteolytic enzymes of pancreas, and they are all converted to dipeptides. Next, fats. Fats are acted upon by lipase, pancreatic lipase, which is also called as trypsin. Before this action of lipase on fats, the fats are to be emulsified. Emulsification of fats takes place. So emulsified fats are acted upon here by lipase. Easily they can act on the emulsified fats. So what is this process of emulsification? That is with the help of bile salts that is secreted by liver. Bile salts that is secreted in bile juice, they emulsify the fat. They emulsify the fat. Emulsification is the process of breakdown of fat molecules into smaller droplets, and these droplets, they are immiscible with water, and the process is called as emulsification. Fat and oil or oil and water cannot mix. They are unmixable. So they are immiscible, and an emulsion is formed. An emulsion is formed and a temporary mixture is formed. That process is called as emulsification, and the product is called as emulsion. Now emulsified fats are easy to break down, that is by the pancreatic lipase, and pH is again the 7.8, and these are broken down to the fatty acids and diglycerides and monoglycerides. Diglycerides and monoglycerides. Then next, the nucleases, nucleic acids. Are acted upon by nucleases. And they are converted to nucleotides and nucleosides. So this is regarding the action of pancreatic juice on the food. Next, succus entericus, that is in the small intestine, that is intestinal juice is secreted by microvilli of the this region, microvilli of the mucous membrane. They secrete the mucus and as well as intestinal juice. And we have discussed also the submucosa of duodenum has Brunner's glands which secrete mucus, and crypts of Lübbermann are also present in the crypts of Lieberkühn. They are also present in the villi of the small intestine, which secrete the enzymes. Now, in the enzymes which are present in Succus entericus, they act on the disaccharides, then diglycerides, monoglycerides, and then dipeptides and dipeptides. So 3 disaccharidases are secreted. Maltose is acted upon by maltase, and the 2 molecules of glucose are formed. The end product of maltose is 2 molecules of glucose. Then lactose is acted upon by lactase, one molecule of glucose and another molecule of galactose. Then sucrose is acted upon by sucrase. Sucrase is also called as invertase. So, end products of sucrose, glucose and fructose. Glucose and fructose are the end products of sucrose. So, all these are disaccharides which are acted upon by these disaccharidases, and these are the end products of carbohydrate digestion or the polysaccharides. Digestion of polysaccharides. Dipeptides are acted upon by dipeptidases present in Succus entericus, and the end products are amino acids. And the nucleotides are acted upon by nucleotidases. And they are converted to nucleosides. And these nucleosides are acted upon by nucleosidases. And end products are the sugars and nitrogen bases, which are the end products of nucleic acids. That is, nucleotides and the nucleosides are the broken down to sugar and the nitrogen bases, which are the end products of nucleic acids. Next, monoglycerides and diglycerides are acted upon by lipases, and end products are fatty acids and glycerol. Fatty acids and glycerol. So, the end products of carbohydrate digestion: glucose, fructose and galactose, monosaccharides. Then end products of protein digestion: fatty acids, amino acids, protein digestion, amino acids. Then the end products of fatty acids and glycerol, and end products of nucleic acids, sugars and nitrogen bases. So all these are formed near, that is final digestion occurs near the mucosal membrane, and further process, that is absorption, takes place by the mucosa of small intestine. So here in small intestine, duodenum region receives all these juices. Duodenum region receives all these juices, and complete digestion occurs in jejunum and ileum. So absorption occurs in jejunum and ileum. The food which is highly acidic in stomach, when it enters small intestine, it is converted to alkaline medium. It is converted to alkaline medium by the secretion of bile or liver and as well as pancreas. That is pancreatic juice and the bile juice, they help in conversion of acidic chyme into the basic food present in that is of the small intestine. Next process is absorption of small digested food. Absorption of digested food. Absorption here, uptake, absorption means uptake of all these end products of digestion and water and as well as electrolytes present in digested food. So here in jejunum region and ileum, maximum absorption occurs, and maximum villi are also present in jejunum. In previous class we have discussed. So here the absorption occurs, that is maximum absorption occurs in jejunum, and undigested food is entering into the large intestine. Undigested food enters into the large intestine, where the digestion process or major digestion does not occur. That is the digestive activity is not occurring in the large intestine. Large intestine only absorbs water and some drugs, and that is some drugs are also absorbed here, minerals and certain drugs are absorbed along with water, and apart from that the mucus is secreted in large intestine, and the food is undigested food, unabsorbed food mixed with mucus secreted by large intestine. It is called as feces, and this fecal matter is temporarily stored in the rectum, and then it is defecated, So this is regarding the whole digestion of all these food items, that is carbohydrates, proteins and the fats. Next, the neural control of all these digestive glands. That is in buccal cavity. That is just now we have discussed that the saliva is secreted. Here by sight or by just smell or just and the entry of food in buccal cavity leads to release of the saliva. Leads to release of saliva. And all these are stimulated by nerves. Nerve endings are present which help in stimulation. Then next, the intestinal and gastric juice, they are also secreted by the nerve endings or the nerves which are present in these regions. Then muscular activities of GI tract help in thorough mixing of the juices or enzymes with food and further in digestion. Then next, which are also controlled by the neural local neurons and as well as central nervous system. Then hormonal control is also there. Hormonal control is of all these secretions is by the local hormones released by the different parts of the digestive system. That is gastrin, cholecystokinin, all these are hormones which are released in the digestive tract. Then next, absorption of the end products of food digestion. Absorption occurs here by different means. Absorption occurs here by different means. Either by passive transport or by active transport, or it may be facilitated movement. So all these are involved in absorption or uptake of all these digested food. Here small amount of glucose and amino acids, they are absorbed passively. They are absorbed passively by the gradient, along the gradient, concentration gradient, they are absorbed. Then some amino acids are and as well as fructose, they are absorbed by facilitated diffusion. That is, here in this particular process, sodium ions help in the diffusion process. Then since ions are involved in diffusion, it is called as facilitated diffusion. Then next, amino acids, glucose and the sodium, all these are actively transported with expenditure of energy against the concentration gradient. Against the concentration gradient. And water is also absorbed by that is by means of osmosis. Water is absorbed by means of osmosis, that is along the concentration gradient. Then fatty acid and glycerol, these are insoluble molecules in water. They are insoluble molecules. First, they are broken down to small droplets called as micelles. Then they are absorbed by mucous membrane. Then they are absorbed by mucous epithelium, and they are converted to chylomicrons. They are converted to protein coated globular structures called as chyloproteins. And these chylomicrons, they are absorbed by the lacteal, that is lymph vessel present in the villi. Lymph vessel present in the villi, they absorb the end products of fat digestion. Then lastly, all these digested food material is released into bloodstream. First, it is absorbed by a mucous membrane, that is mucosa of small intestine. Then it is released into bloodstream. This is regarding absorption of small intestine. Then some disorders we have to study. in digestive system. Digestive disorders are there. First digestive disorder is jaundice. Jaundice is characterized by presence of excess bilirubin pigment. Excess bilirubin pigment in blood, because of which the mucous membrane, nail bed and conjunctiva of eye are turning yellowish in color. Next is vomiting. Vomiting is ejection of food present in stomach. Ejection of food present in stomach, or whatever is present in stomach, that is ejected out. This process is called as vomiting. And generally nausea is preceding vomiting. That is, nausea means vomiting sensation, that precedes vomiting. And vomiting center is present in medulla oblongata. Vomiting center is present in medulla oblongata. Then next, one more disorder is diarrhea. Diarrhea is excess, the fecal matter which is stored temporarily in large intestine. It is excess that is liquid form, in excess liquid form, and that is unusual bowel movements will be there, and the absorption is also reduced, and frequently the bowel movements occurs, and this is called as diarrhea. Excess watery discharge will be there generally. Next, constipation. Because of irregular bowel movements, the food is stored for longer period in rectum. This is referred as constipation. And lastly, indigestion. Indigestion is not proper digestion of the food because of many reasons, like insufficient enzymes, then overeating or excess eating, and anxiety or stress, and even hyperacidity may be one of the cause for indigestion. So these are the different disorders of digestive system. So with this we conclude this chapter, that is digestion and absorption. Thank you.